What childhood rules do you still follow, for no real reason? If I'm sitting in the back seat of a car and both seats are open, I sit on the left side. The right side was always my brother's growing up and it just feels wrong to be sitting there. Even almost a decade later. I had to sit on the right because my brother would freak out if the gas tank got below a quarter tank or if any warning lights came on. It was harder for him to see from behind the driver without obviously leaning forward and getting yelled at by everyone in the car to relax. I have horrible anxiety about doing anything the afternoon evening after calling in sick. When I was a kid, if you were too sick to go to school, you're too sick to play. So if I ever call into work sick but feel better later, or while I should have been working, I force myself to stay home and not do things I want to do. I won't go out at all. Sort of related. I worked retail and food service for years. And God help you if you called in and you weren't in the ER bleeding out. Started with corrections 13 years ago. Called in sick for the first time. Got ready to put on a show. And my SGT goes, "Okay. Feel better," and hung up. I looked at my BF at the time and said, "Man, that was suspiciously easy." I nearly always walk on my tiptoes so I don't make noise when I walk. Because if I have made noise walking as a kid, I would be in trouble. I still hold on to the side of the cart when I go shopping with my mom. The rate time I go shopping with my mom, she has me push the cart while holding on to the front. Ma, I love ya. But I can back up semi-trailers. I'm pretty sure this cart won't be crashes into chip display. I only eat one thing at a time to make sure I'm hungry before preparing the next item to cut down on waste. Only open one box of cereal at a time and never eat the last of something you didn't buy. My mom instituted the latter because I would always eat all of her Swiss rolls. Now I do it partially out of respect and partially out of the fear of my mom beating my ass. Edit. Holy hell, didn't expect to get this many likes. Thanks guys and also girls. Watch my language very carefully around anyone older than me. This just reminded me. I was at fireworks with friends last week and I casually said, "Oh, I hope they do the sperm looking ones this year," and this older couple sitting in front of us gasped out loud and then got up and moved. No phone calls before 9 AM or after 10 PM. We have been getting a robber call after 10 recently. And it infuriates me beyond all reason. My parents taught me this as proper phone etiquette growing up. You don't call people before 9 AM unless it's an emergency. It feels weird as an adult to make calls before 9 when I'm at home. Though my mom recently told me that the reason we had that rule was because my grandmother thought it was impolite to call people before 9. So that rule was so no one accidentally called our grandparents' house. Can't step on lines while walking on tiles. Stepping on the beach. The first thing you do when you get home is change out of your day clothes into your play clothes. Lounging around the house in nice clothes is a stain or tear just waiting to happen. I started doing this as an adult. Because I'm not gonna be uncomfortable in my own damn house. Eat the whole fortune cookie before you read the message. Otherwise it won't come true. Doesn't work with a lot of them. Since nowadays they are mostly just bits of wisdom rather than predictions. But I always stuck with it. I was taught that you need to eat half of the cookie before reading the fortune in order for it to come true. That must be your problem. Bedtime. I pushed it back about an hour. But I'm going to sleep by 10 at the latest nights despite being a college student. I'd rather wake up early than stay up late. Getting enough sleep is wonderful. I wanna know how that feels like. Telling my parents goodnight and I love them every night. I'm only 19 so not that old, but it feels important to me. I'm 30 and live 2,500 miles away from my folks. But I still call or text every day to say I love them. You're a good kid. Keep that relationship healthy. Not everyone has that luck. Nothing sweet for breakfast. I'm an adult. I can eat what I want. But I still can't stomach anything sweeter than Cheerios for breakfast. My family's rule was no sugary cereal. Except on vacation. To this day I still only allow myself sugary cereal on vacation. I used to always eat my food in order of least favorite to favorite, and I still do that now as an adult. And then someone asks for a bit when you're near the end. Come on man. I've engineered this. Clean as you cook. It's nice to not deal with a mess afterwards. That's just a good culinary rule in general. Most chefs go on about it. Sometimes I'll skip movie scenes that I couldn't watch as a child just because I'm so used to it and the movie wouldn't be the same without skipping it. A large centipede was hiding under the seat of my toilet when I was a kid. It crawled onto my ass while I was taking a shit and I freaked out, and it kept on crawling all over my body while I was trying to grab it and take it off. While I was shaking and trying to get it off, shit was flowing out of my asshole and I slipped on my own sheet. The centipede crawled away and I just laid on the floor in my own sheet, crying because I was so traumatized by that event. I now always check under the toilet seat. Giving my mum regular updates when I travel. My parents were divorced and my mum was struggling financially, so I would travel without her from a fairly young age, whether it be with my dad's side of the family or for the summer winter camps. She came up with a rule that I can have all the independence I want as long as I make sure to regularly check in with her and let her know about every major location change. I still let her know in advance about every out of town journey I take and always let her know once I reach my destination and then get back home. When I travel by planes, I always let her know when I get to the airport, get through security, board, take off, land, and then get to the place I'm supposed to be staying at. I didn't realize it's a bit silly until my partner pointed it out to me that I am, in fact, a grown-up, living in another country, and I don't have to tell my mum what time I'm going to be home every night. I also feel very uncomfortable going out on a Saturday night if the flat hasn't been deep cleaned. My brother and I, also housemates, still have this rule we had as children: whoever uses it last must also put it away. And we still use this big whiteboard which tells our week schedule, even though we always communicate by WhatsApp how late we will be home. Homer, the code of the schoolyard. Marge, the rules that teach a boy how to be a man. Let's see, don't tattle. Always make fun of those different from you. Never say anything unless you're sure everyone feel exactly the same way you do. I will never buy those candies at the cash register at supermarkets. When I'm in a store, especially ones that have lots of breakables, I automatically put my hands in my pockets. It was a good way to make sure my brother and I didn't accidentally break stuff or carry things around that we wanted to ask for at checkout. Now it's just a habit, and way more comfortable to keep up. Taking my hat off when I eat. I always wore a baseball hat when I was young, and my father always made me remove my hat when we ate because he believed it was proper etiquette. Even now as an adult, I always remove my hat when I eat, whether it be at a bar with friends or simply dinner alone at home. IDK just became a habit. Stranger danger. When I was about 19, I'd get weirded out when other adults would speak to me. I always thought it was super creepy since you're not supposed to speak to strangers. Then I realized the term stranger danger was just for kids. No one ever really explained to me that as an adult it's okay to speak to strangers. Wearing underwear in the car. Even if you're just running to the gas station, you must always wear underwear. As a child, I was told, what will the EMTs think of you if they have to save you and you're not wearing underwear, and I thought it was so ridiculous. Now I think, but what if one of them is hot? I should be wearing my good underwear. When I was 4, I said a bad word while watching Family Guy. So the rule for everyone was no more Family Guy. I am now in my teens and can watch whatever I want. My parents have even tried to get me to watch Family Guy. Nope, I cannot allow myself to watch Family Guy no matter what, for absolutely no reason. No elbows on the table. When opening a soda can, tap on the tap 5 times. My friend told me it doesn't foam when you do that, and I've done it without thought ever since. I don't curse in front of my parents and grandparents. But I curse in front of just about everybody else. For me, it's more reinstating childhood rules for myself, so I can be a better functioning adult. Things like having a set bedtime and wake up time. Spending only from an allowance, I'm horrible with money otherwise. Eating set portions of food at set times in the day. It's a slow process, but I can feel it helping me. Also, holding on to the side of the shopping cart while grocery shopping with my mom. If I'm over for a visit when she needs to do the shopping, I go with her so she'll have the company. That rule will pop into my adult head, and I just grab hold without thinking further on it. She just laughs, and we get on with the shopping. When I was 2, I used to run out the door and stand in the middle of the road. My mom managed to padlock me into not going out without my shoes on, or else that was just how I was, and she would hide my shoes, and I wouldn't go outside. I still, in my 20s, can't stand to walk barefoot outside. If I'm splitting food with someone and I'm the one to divide the portions, I always have the other person choose which one they want to take. My mom had this rule for my older brother and myself when we were kids to get us to divide things we were sharing evenly. I still force myself to eat the crust on a sandwich, and the thought is always in the back of my mind that I have to eat it quick so I can get to the part I enjoy. I still don't put my purse on the floor. My mom always said if you did it, you would lose money. Not taking a shower when it's storming or might storm. I'm not sure if it's scientifically sound, especially with a fiberglass tub, but if it looks like it might storm, I'll still speed through my shower so I don't get electrocuted. That you can't drink soda in the morning. As a kid, I loved Coca-Cola, still do, unfortunately. But I was told as a kid that it's against the rules to drink any soda before noon. It recently triggered in my brain that, as an adult, I can buy Coca-Cola and drink it at any time I want. Sometimes, at work, I'll be in the mood for a Coke but always check the clock to make sure it's at least 12 first. Can't leave my feet hanging off the side of the bed at night or else the monsters will get me. The rule of being on all four when running upstairs. It's still something I do occasionally. I took my son to school late one day and got stuck standing for O Canada after watching him walk to class. I stood there for about 3 seconds before realizing I'm 27 and don't need to do that. I guess I said that out loud cause another lady, who was also standing, said oh yeah and we both walked out together. I always eat the expensive main part of my meal first and I never drink my drink before I eat to avoid filling up on juice. When no adults are around, we can play video games whenever we want and have dessert before dinner if we feel like it. Woohoo. That moment you realize you are the adult around and can never play video games again. Still haven't watched loads of movies that came out when I was too young to watch them. Parents, obviously, wouldn't let me at the time and I'll still skip past them now. For example on Netflix. Just out of habit. There's this movie theater in a mall near my parents' house where I grew up. The floor in the mall leading up to the theater was mostly white tiles with red tiles that made a pattern. When my parents would take my brothers and me to that theater we wouldn't step on the red tiles because, obviously, those are lava. Now, when I'm home visiting my parents, if we go to that theater I still won't step on the red tiles. I'm 30. We never went to the drive-thru growing up. For some reason I still always go inside at fast food places.